Hi, good evening. I'm Jesus, and tonight I would like to talk to you about the dangers of the Islamic Cultural Center at Ground Zero, otherwise known as the Ground Zero Mosque. The first danger is the American perception of Islam. This is obviously not a danger caused by the proposed mosque, but is evidenced by our response to it. I think that many in America conflate our war on terrorism with a war on Islam. I think it's troubling, and ultimately quite wrong, to judge an entire world religion by the craziest members of it. Imagine if the rest of the world thought that Christianity was represented by the Phelps family of the Westboro Baptists. This danger might be the most insidious because it is also the most pervasive. This wouldn't be an issue if the proximity to Ground Zero were actually an issue, but I don't think it is. We see the same sort of protests going on in Wisconsin and California. And it seems that Americans just simply don't want Islamic centers of worship in their communities at all. And I think that that is a telltale sign that we have conflated our war on terror with a war on Islam. I think this leads directly into the second danger, which is making our enemies correct. A lot of the propaganda that comes out of organizations like Al-Qaeda and the Taliban is that America hates Islam, and that the freedoms that they enjoy are temporary. They are actively trying to recruit American terrorists by telling them that eventually their rights will be stripped away from them. And the great fear that I have is that protesting these mosques and making it quite clear that Islam is not welcome in America sends exactly that message. So ultimately, we're making our enemies correct by denying the basic freedoms of worship to non-radical Muslims. The way we treat Muslims in the U.S. is being watched all over the world, and things like this are used by our enemies for purposes of propaganda. They spread the message that Americans hate Islam. That not only hurts our relations with the predominantly Muslim Middle East, but may also foster fear and hatred of America, which could very well lead to future terror attacks. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to lay the blame for a lot of this fear-mongering at the feet of the news media, Fox News in particular, as I think that they are probably the most egregious offenders in this way. I'll cite as a specific example the way in which they've handled Imam Rauf, who is sort of the leader of the organization that is attempting to build the Islamic Center. They have asserted that he has ties to terrorist organizations because he has received funding from a Saudi backer that they never name. And I'll tell you why they don't ever name this Saudi backer. It's because the same Saudi backer is also the second largest stockholder in News Corp, which is the parent company of Fox News. If you don't believe me, Google the name Al-Walid bin Talal. He's a Saudi prince, and outside of Rupert Murdoch and his family, he is the largest shareholder in News Corp. So basically, Imam Rauf has no more ties to terrorism than does Fox News. In fact, if we're going to play the game of terrorist by association, and we compare the amount of money contributed by Al-Walid bin Talal to News Corp versus his contributions to Imam Rauf, then in fact, it would turn out that Fox News is much more of a terrorist organization. The last danger is the danger to our civil liberties. The First Amendment guarantees that Congress shall make no law prohibiting the free expression of religion. So under the First Amendment, there can be no legal basis for denying this particular mosque from being built. And let us not forget that the original colonists came to America for the same reason that many still do today, for that very religious freedom. I think it's a little facetious for pundits to say that if they're going to build a mosque in New York, they should build cathedrals and churches in Saudi Arabia. I think it's facetious because we hold ourselves to a higher standard, where in Saudi Arabia, perhaps religious freedom isn't as valued as it is here in America. But that's what makes America America, is that we guarantee our people that very freedom. And I think to use the argument that we should be just as religiously tolerant as Saudi Arabia is to denigrate that freedom, is to show an incredible lack of appreciation for the freedoms that we have. And it further denigrates that freedom to deny it to somebody else. I can't remember who said it, but a man wiser than myself said that to deny freedoms to a group of people diminishes us all. Thank you.